25th April 2023. Morning Murli. Om Shanti. BapDada, Madhuban. Sweet children, you are on a wonderful spiritual pilgrimage while sitting at home. Your pilgrimage is one of the intellect. Content to move forward on this pilgrimage while performing actions, and you will become pure. Question: what slippery and subtle things on this path of knowledge do you only hear about at this time? Answer: you know that all of you males and females are souls, brides of the one supreme soul Shiv. The bridegroom is the one God. Then, in terms of your bodies, you are shivbaba's grandsons and granddaughters. Each of you has a full right to his property. You claim your grandfather's property of constant happiness for 21 births. This is a very slippery effect. Song: our pilgrimage is unique. Om Shanti. Those on the path of devotion have composed the song about the physical pilgrimage and the spiritual pilgrimage. They remembered those who existed in the past. All human beings only know about physical pilgrimages. You can see that they have been going on those for birth after birth. They only keep Badrinath, Srinath, etc. in their intellects. You children have also been remembering physical pilgrimages, and you still remember them. You have been going on pilgrimages for birth after birth. The intellects of your children now have the knowledge of the spiritual pilgrimage. The yoga of people's intellects is with corporeal pilgrimages. Your intellect's yoga is with this spiritual pilgrimage. There is the difference of day and night. You are now moving forward on the spiritual pilgrimage. You are on this wonderful pilgrimage while sitting at home. Would anyone be able to understand this pilgrimage? When you occupy yourselves and your business, etc., you don't remember in that much. However, when you sit down to churn the ocean of knowledge, you would remember very well that you are on a pilgrimage. This knowledge is very easy. Your children understand what the purifier Father must truly be doing. There would definitely be a pilgrimage to make everyone pure. That is the sweet land of Nirvana, which all devotees remember. No one knows whether God has to come to us or whether we have to go to God. They believe that their Guru and their ancestors have gone to land of Nirvana or the incorporeal world. Okay, what did they do there then? Did they just sit there? They don't know what happened at all. They simply say that so and so went beyond to the land of Nirvana, or that the light merged into the light, that the waves merged into the ocean. They know nothing of how the world cycle turns. The Father now explains to you. Only once in this final birth do you go on the spiritual pilgrimage. You can call it a spiritual pilgrimage or a pilgrimage of souls. First of all, you children have the faith that you are souls. It is said that embodied souls experience sorrow. Therefore, at this time, when souls are with their bodies, they are brides looking for the Father. Males and females are all brides. Generally, a maid would not be called a bride. However, these are very deep, slippery aspects. You consider yourselves to be shivbaba's grandchildren. That is when you are in bodies, you are grandsons and granddaughters. Baba has explained that each of you has a right to the grandfather's property. If a father is wealthy but his son is unworthy, it is possible that the father wouldn't give his property to his son. However, the grandfather's property is in royal family from the beginning of the time. In the golden and silver ages, you will be using your grandfather's property. You are now claiming your property from grandfather. The grandfather's property, it's so great. You claim the property of constant happiness for 21 births. The Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is the grandfather. Brahma is called Baba. You say that you are claiming this property from your grandfather. How much of the grandfather's property you receive depends on how much effort you make. Just as this mother and father Jagadamba and Jagatpita are making effort, in the same way you are also becoming just as elevated by making the same effort. You claim the full property from the grandfather. You receive a kingdom. You know how long that sovereignty lasts. There are so many points. If you explain to anyone in this way, they would quickly be able to understand. There are definitely the two fathers. Everyone calls Prajapita Brahma father. Everyone believes in God, the father. That senior one is the grandfather and Brahma is his son. The name Brahma is very well known. Neither Vishnu nor Shankar can be called Prajapita. A creation would not be created in the subtle region. Brahma would definitely create Brahmins here. The Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul created the Brahmin community through the lotus lips of Brahma. Similarly, it would be said that Christ created the Christian community and that Abraham created the Islam community. Those names are mentioned. Shankaracharya also created a creation. Every tree has its branches and twigs. This is an unlimited tree. Its creator, the seed, is very well known. He is famous. The foundation is up above and the seed is at the top. However, all the branches and twigs, that is, all the creation created by human beings, would be said to be here. The Father himself, the seed, created this institution of Brahma Kumaris. He is the seed, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, and he resides up above. It isn't that the seeds means the founders of all the branches and twigs are at the top. These are very refined matters. The Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is always remembered as being up above. Christ would not be remembered up above. The name, form, place and time of the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul are the same. They never change. The Father sits here and explains this very well. Your children know that you are now changing from impure to pure. You don't always remain the same. At first, you are 16 celestial degrees full, then you become 14 degrees and then the degrees continue to decrease. After the golden age, we continue to descend. At this time, we are going to the very top. This is the path to ascend and that is the path to descend. The praise of that one is very great. The purifier is only one. Everyone remembers the one, but because of not knowing him fully, they remember bodily beings instead because they have forgotten who the purifier is. Surely, the one must be called that. This cannot enter the intellects of anyone except your children. Even among you, it is number-wise. You now understand that you are the grandchildren of the grandfather and that you are sitting in Baba's home. That grandfather is also present here. He would definitely incarnate here. Would he not? You would see that your grandfather is teaching you here. He comes from the Supreme Abode. The grandfather of ours is spiritual, whereas all other grandfathers are physical. So the grandfather says you should jump with joy. Although kings and royalty are very wealthy, what does that grandfather still give us? The sovereignty of heaven. You now understand these things. You will then forget those things in the golden age. There, even Lakshmi and Narayan don't know who gave them the happiness of heaven. If they understood that, they would also understand what they were previously. These are very wonderful matters. Lakshmi and Narayan don't know who gave them their kingdom. Apart from you Brahmins, No one else knows this. Your status is even higher than that of the deities. Here you receive the grandfather's property. You know that this Brahma is truly the father and that the grandfather enters his body. How else would he come to purify the impure? All souls come down from up above and adopt bodies. He does not have his own body. All of those things are in the intellects of your children. He is called the Supreme Soul. It doesn't mean that God is larger and that souls are smaller. There is no difference between the size of the Supreme Soul and souls. It isn't that God becomes smaller or larger. The Father says, I am so ordinary. My praise is very great because I come and make everyone pure from impure. I too am a soul. I give you the knowledge that I have in me. It isn't that a soul becomes larger or smaller, because souls don't know knowledge. They become dirty, bewildered. Their lights are extinguished. Then, when the oil of the knowledge is poured into them, their lights are ignited. However, what is a soul? It isn't a flame. Souls are just as cool as the Supreme Soul. He is the one who cools everyone down. It is remembered, those whose limbs are cool. This one's limbs becomes cool when that one enters. He makes the one whom he enters very cool. You know how cool Baba is? Cool and hot. They have been burned so much by sitting on the pyre of lust. Don't even ask. Some are such sinful souls that no matter how much knowledge you sprinkle on them, they don't cool down. So much effort has to be made on each one individually. Baba asked, have you become cool? Sannyasis and saints would never ask this. Maya makes everyone impure. They continue to burn on the pyre of lust. Your children know that you are children of Prajapita Brahma. Shivbaba is the grandfather, and so you should receive the inheritance from him. There is one Baba and one Dada, means grandfather, and many children receive property from him. No other human beings can be called Prajapita. Shivbaba is the father of souls anyway. Now that your children are sitting personally in front of him, you know that you are sitting with Shivbaba. He is the creator of heaven. He is your grandfather. You are studying Raj Yoga from him. You receive the property of heaven from your grandfather so that you do not become poverty-stricken for 21 births. You become very wealthy. Those who were worthy of worship deities have now become worshippers. You know that you claim your inheritance from Baba and that you will experience happiness for 21 births. You have claimed and lost your inheritance so many times. The day before yesterday, you claimed your inheritance. Yesterday, you lost it, and today, you are claiming it once again. You will then lose it again tomorrow. Only at this time do you know these things. At this time, you are made master oceans of knowledge by the knowledgeful Father, the ocean of knowledge. You receive knowledge. It isn't that any of you become like a bright light. All of that, it just praise. Similarly, it is Sri Krishna's praise when it is said that there is light everywhere in the home when he takes birth. At that time, that was heaven, the day. Anyway, there was light anyway. However, it isn't that light would emerge. That it just praise. In the same way, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul is God, but all of his praise is based on his acts. There has been praise of many. People say, so and so died and went to heaven. So, is heaven up above? In the Dalvara temple, they portray heaven on the ceiling. Down below, there are Adidev and Adidevi, Jagatpita and Jagadamba. Therefore, they are definitely sitting down below in hell. They are studying Raj Yoga. in order to go to heaven. You children know that that is an accurate, identical memorial. We too have come and are sitting here. These are such wonderful matters. You children have come and belong to the grandfather, and so your mercury of happiness should rise. You are becoming the masters of the pure world. No one can become a master of the world without making effort. That is physical effort, whereas this is subtle. Souls have to make effort. Cooking chapatis and doing businesses, etc., are all done by souls. Baba is now engaging you souls in doing the spiritual business. Together with that, you also have to do your worldly business. You have to look after your children. Don't say, Baba, I belong to you. These are your children, and so you have to look after them. If Baba were to look after everyone, he wouldn't even be able to get a building that big. Even if he had hundreds of buildings as big as the Delhi fort, where would he be able to keep so many children? That is not possible. The building would not have that capacity. The law is that you have to make effort while living at home with your families. If so many children were all to come here, how would everything continue? So the father says, remember me. You receive limitless treasures from the grandfather. It is a matter of so much happiness. Not that much time remains. It is remembered. When Ram went, Ravan also went. In the future, you will continue to receive visions of what would possibly happen. As you come close to your home, you would see those trees, etc. As you come closer, you will understand what is going to happen. Baba will also continue to give you knowledge. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost, and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, BapDada. The spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children says, Namaste and good morning to the spiritual father. Essence for the dharana. First point, become as cool as the father. Sprinkle drops of knowledge and also serve to make human souls cool. Second point, remember the grandfather's property and stay in limitless happiness. Do spiritual business and claim the sovereignty of the world. Blessing. May you become an embodiment of full success and an easy yogi by having a close relationship with the Father and having all attainments. Explanation. The children who are constantly in a close relationship with the Father and experience all attainments experience easy yoga. They constantly experience themselves as belonging to the Father. They do not need to be reminded of being souls or being the Father's children, but they always have this intoxication and experience being embodiments of all attainments. They constantly have elevated zeal and enthusiasm and stay in happiness. They constantly stay in a powerful stage and thereby become embodiments of full success. Slogan. Those who maintain their spiritual pride can never be caught up in limited respect and pride. Om Shanti